Huge implications for the AFC West race. The Chiefs head to Denver to face the Broncos. Let's break down this matchup. Welcome back to the BetCanada channel. Katie Caldwell and Jeff Lloyd here with you today. Jeff, the Broncos come in at 8-2, tied for the best record in the NFL. We've talked about this so many times. It has not always looked pretty, especially on that offense. What will we see from Bo Nix and company against Kansas City?
They This is a tough spot for Denver. It really is
Big,
because,
time. Big
I
time.
think so many people view this game as the home team in Denver's 8-2, and then there's the Chiefs who are 5-4. So Denver's in a really interesting position. I'm gonna tell you right now, everybody in the AFC, go Denver, go Denver, go
No,
Denver.
big time.
Because the closer and the more difficult the road may have to be for the Kansas City Chiefs is more than okay for everybody else in the AFC. My belief here, and look, Denver's defense, there's just not enough superlatives you could probably give it.
No,
But this is Patrick
so
Mahomes
good.
and the Kansas City Chiefs offense, and it gotta have it.
Mm-hmm.
And an absolute gotta have it.
Big
So
time.
the concern for me is not necessarily the Denver defense because you can play well and still get got by Patrick Mahomes. But if this gets to the point where the Denver offense has to try to compete with the Kansas City offense, all of
Mm-hmm.
a sudden, that's where the red lights go off and the sirens go off where, like, this might not be something that Denver is looking to do. Denver's gonna have to run the ball. They're going
Yes.
to have to run the ball. In this situation, with the Chiefs sitting here at 5-4 and possibly a game away from a 500 record, you know Pat is coming all out. So the best defense probably in this situation is to hopefully have Pat more spectator than
Mm.
player. You give Pat enough opportunities in a game like this, even if it is in Denver, even against that defense, odds are good. You would have to think that Patrick Mahomes is gonna find a way through it because year in, year out, he has.
We have seen Patrick Mahomes vulnerable against a really great pass rush, though. That's what I think is going to be really interesting in this one. What is your trust level of this offensive line protecting him? Because, man, I feel like this has got to be the best Broncos defense we've seen in the Sean Payton era. And even before that, like, this is giving, like, what was the year they won the Super Bowl, 2015, 16? It's giving that level of defense where their offense might have to do just enough, but that is a vulnerability I do see in Patrick Mahomes, and then like this matchup could be interesting.
And there's certainly something and Kansas City has to be all over this themselves. They have to understand, obviously, just how good this Denver pass rush is.
Yeah.
And this is where you look at a Rashee Rice and you look at a
Mm,
Travis Kelce. Don't need a lot of room. Not guys that are necessarily known for running deeper patterns. Guys who are good with yak ability, consistent. And, Pat's going to have to feel it out. We're not going to be able to go Texas Tech style here where we run around for 6 seconds and then just launch 155 yards. This team, Denver, is just too good defensively. It's going to have to be smart. It's going to have to be more like station to station type of football. And that's probably where you're going to look, hopefully, for Rashee Rice and Kelsey,
mm,
because it's just you're not probably even if you get them and you move well on them, it's probably not going to be chunk plays. And that's the thing where Denver's pass rush is such a key here. Because even if you got a 20, 25-yard game, next thing you know, it could be 2nd and 17 because Benito took down Patrick Mahomes. So you have to be really smart and calculated here if you're Kansas City. And it wouldn't stun me if there was some combination of, Rice and Kelsey, somewhere 18, 20 receptions, because you're going to have to work the short passing game early to
mm.
hopes to have any opportunity to hope maybe work some deep stuff. But that's all going to be contingent on whether or not this Kansas City Chiefs offensive line can obviously handle Denver. And the thing with Denver is as much as they can get you from the edge is also as much as they can get you from the interior with their pass rush.
That's what it is about their defenses. They just look so overpowering that we've seen so many offenses that just don't look anything like themselves up against this unit. Are we worried about Bo Nix? Like officially? Like we've talked about before how he doesn't have the weapons that other guys have to work with, but man, he's missing a lot of deep throws. I just don't see a lot of rhythm in this offense, really, no matter who they're playing against.
It's actually funny, right, that we're even, like, saying this, right? Talking about a guy who went to the playoffs as a rookie, a guy right now
Mhm.
who's sitting with an 8-2 team. I'm gonna err still to where I've been erring with Bo Nix. I'm sorry. You're not serving me Cortland Sutton as a wide receiver 1 in the NFL. I'm sorry. And that's the biggest difference. And, like, when you look and you try to rearrange a wide receiver room, say they acquire somebody, and now all of a sudden Cortland Sutton's a 2, and then everybody drops down a peg. All of a sudden, the legitimacy and maybe the overall prowess of that wide receiver room would look a little bit more like it should. So it's really tough to put it all on Bo Nix when you see some receivers that, his peers in the league are kind of working with. A Jaden Daniels is working with a Terry McLaurin. Rome Odunze is working with Caleb Williams. JJ McCarthy from that class has got Justin Jefferson. Bone.
And Jordan Addison.
Yeah, I got Cortland Sutton. And I think that's, and look, obviously it's not killing them. They are 8-2, but we always like to play these scenarios, 3rd and 8, money situation, you know, it's not much different than Buffalo. Like, it's Cortland Sutton. And it's not a knock on him, it's just I just don't think there's enough overall firepower. You look to that Giant game for Denver, and you know that Bo Nix can just go on an absolute heater. But if this is gonna be something where we're starting to talk about Denver, Bo Nix, this defense being a true legit Super Bowl contender, that's the glaring weakness for me
Mm.
is I just don't believe Bo Nix has got enough to work with. I think they thought Evan Engram was gonna give him a bigger return than it did. I think Bo Nix is playing extremely well. I really do, and I think if Denver's hoping to achieve the heights they want to achieve, the problem is I think Bo Nix is missing maybe the most important color on his palette.
See, every time you talk about Courtland Sutton, I realize I think I'm much higher on him than you are because I'm like, yeah, he's got a guy like Courtland Sutton. And your point about the Giants game, I think that's what frustrates me the most about this offense is because we have seen them do it, and I'm not going to sit here and hype up the Giants defense by any means. They have a lot of really good players on that defense. But I think that's what frustrates me the most is because we've seen how they were able to operate it, and then they just look so flat and so inconsistent other times. How do you think they're going to run the ball against the Chiefs defense? Because I think you're right. That must be one of the keys to their offensive game plan in this one.
Well, I think they should be able to run it with a little bit of success. Kansas City Chiefs and Spagnuolo gets a ton of credit, but it's never that the Chiefs defense just basically shuts a team down. They get breaks. They create
Mm.
their own breaks. It's a key sack from Chris Jones. It's a turnover. Spagnuolo does a great job, and the Chiefs, as you can just tell by looking at their roster, obviously their emphasis is offensive skill players. And that's
Mhm.
where the money's gonna go, and that's where the draft choices are gonna go, the Xavier Worthies, the Kelseys, the Mahomes, everybody making a boatload of money, obviously. And then they just try to find guys who fit what Spagnola needs because they'll play 15, 16 guys. They have no problem playing a lot of guys because they are not putting a ton of money into certain players on their defense. Once the corners make too much money, all right, well, then leaving free agency, we'll find somebody else. So, running the ball for Denver is absolutely gonna be, paramount for them. And I do, have my concerns here because all of this screams, it's in Denver. Denver on paper is the better team. And, that's a tough spot to be in when it's a team like the Chiefs, who similar to Buffalo, but a little different. Buffalo's we're a late January team every year.
Mm.
Whereas Kansas City's looking at the possibility of, February may not be in the cards if they get to 5-5. So, for Denver, can you show everybody that, this 8-2 isn't necessary? And I would say it's a fallacy. I would say that this 8-2 maybe to some people looks suspect just because it's a good team all around. But if you just the defense we all agree is fantastic. You look at the offense though, and you try to stack it up to other teams who have similar records this time of year. I'm not sure how high Denver's going to get put in that pecking order.
Mm. Yeah, I when I look at the teams overall, I lean Kansas City as having the better team overall, but I think in terms of like that unit of that defense, I think is just the best in the entire league. Balance
It was
wise, I
last
think
year,
the
and
Chiefs
it was last year.
are more balanced. The AFC West of it all breaks my brain because if the Broncos win, they would move to 9-2 while dropping their division rival to 5-5. I couldn't imagine a bigger win on the season for the Broncos or in the last however many seasons if they do get this done. Then again, this is also Andy Reid off a bye, and we've seen what he works with all that extra time to play with.
And a little bit more on the line, a lot
Mm.
more on the line. Kansas City is not used to be sitting here, and again, another team with that, the Chiefs with a gotta have it game in November. But you kinda have
What
it,
world is this?
that's where you
Yeah.
are right now. But well, I do remember a certain Canadian young lady and a gentleman in August saying there may have been some things with Kansas City that didn't necessarily line up in the beginning of this year. But me, a game like this, Patrick Mahomes, I mean, I'm kinda, like, when they say, you chase the money? Well, the money's been coming through crystal clear for about a decade now in Kansas City. Bo Nix, Patrick Mahomes, you now, yeah, until Pat proves me wrong, I gotta believe even if Bo Nix plays a great game, it may not be enough because you could just get one of those Mahomes' days.
I do have the Chiefs winning this one, but there is a part of me because I have no investment in either of these teams and someone that just loves chaos. I would love to see the game script if they do keep getting to Patrick Mahomes and he just can't get anything going on offense. Then if they can run it on the other side, man, weird things can happen. Who do you have, Chiefs?
Again, look, it's hard to, in a situation like this, to believe that, this is not the game where Patrick Mahomes is 100% dialed in.
Yeah,
And I think, again, I think it's going to be Rasheed Rice. I think it's going to be Travis Kelsey. They're not going to try to, it's not going to be the wow Kansas City Chiefs that we kind of fell in love with. It's going to be the I don't care that we have 12 wide receivers. I don't care that we have 12 skilled players. If I am going down, I'm going down with my money guys. And my money
yeah.
guys are Rasheed Rice and Travis Kelsey. And Mahomes, with the guys that he wants to work with in a situation like this, that's good enough for me to believe that Kansas City is gonna come out of this one with a W.